The narrative opens with the resonating theme song celebrating a bygone era, reminding the audience that society once operated under assumptions of clear roles, simpler values, and unquestioned norms. Archie Bunker and Edith prepare for the funeral of cousin Liz, and their rapport exposes a comical yet complex marriage defined by Archie's gruff pragmatism and Edith's gentle curiosity. While in a cheap motel room before the event, sexual innuendo is implied through a clerk asking if the room would be used for only an hour. Archie treats the suggestion with irritation. Edith internalizes it with confusion. He critiques motels' adult movie menus on the phone, even the view of ordinary cars outside. His bitterness masks insecurity, while Edith sees dignity in details that most people ignore. As they dress for the funeral, Edith reflects on the emotional fragility of death. Archie mocks euphemisms like passed away, insisting blunt language is honest. Through banter, subtle tenderness appears. Edith tells him he's wonderful before it's too late, and he brushes off the compliment, both uncomfortable and secretly moved. Humor and vulnerability swirl inseparably. At the gathering, Veronica hosts mourners in a modest apartment filled with subtle, sentimental objects. Archie eagerly surveys items for potential inheritance. Edith becomes enchanted by a sterling silver tea set, with family lineage reciting a comically complex genealogical story. Archie, uninterested in ancestry, calculates a possible resale value of $2,000. Veronica quietly asks Edith if she might keep the tea set because it holds memories of afternoon tea rituals she shared with Liz. She hesitates, then confesses an emotional truth. She loved Liz not platonically, but romantically. This revelation shocks Edith at first. She processes confusion, innocence, empathy, and sorrow that their love remains secret for 25 years. Veronica explains that being openly gay would have jeopardized their careers as school teachers. Society's scrutiny forced secrecy. Edith empathizes with the pain of hiding affection. She decides Veronica deserves the tea set. Archie overhears fragments and reacts with dismay, prejudice, and shame at having once kissed Liz. His horror is not just about sexuality, but the threat to his beliefs about gender and identity. Archie attempts to pressure Veronica, but Edith intervenes, appealing to his empathy. Archie ultimately surrenders and chooses not to pursue legal action. Yet on the way out, he steals sugar tongs, a petty comedic betrayal of progress. A new chapter begins. Edith invites two elderly residents of the Sunshine home to be married in the bunker living room. Archie resists because he plans an early fishing trip. Edith promised them a venue, promised to serve as matron of honor, promised Archie would be best man, and promised to sing "Oh Promise Me." All four promises entangle Archie's plans. He argues, complains, threatens, then ultimately negotiates begrudging delays. Their argument exposes deeper marital history, resurfacing tensions about naming their daughter and where they once lived. These petty recountings show how marriage stores emotional fossils unearthed during conflict. Barney, Archie's friend and fellow fisherman, reluctantly agrees to postpone departure when Archie subtly hints at blackmail over a past hotel incident. Blanche, Barney's wife, confirms the leverage. The wedding scene unfolds with delightful awkwardness. Edith sings too slowly. Archie interrupts to switch to the bridal march. The groom, terrified, hides in a closet. Archie gives comedic marital advice involving Peach's optical illusions and masculine expectations. Finally, they wed, and in a bizarre twist, the newlyweds join the fishing trip, turning the romantic night into slapstick adventure. Later, Archie's side project takes center stage. He prepares for the grand opening of his saloon, Archie's Place, boasting about success. He calls work to feign illness, ignoring Edith's warning he risks his job. Dressed flamboyantly, he storms into the bar, barking orders at Harry, the bartender, demanding powdered water tablets, stool repairs, and more. The comedic absurdity aligns with his mounting hubris. Harry resents Archie's transformation from friendly patron to tyrannical boss. He quits and takes the busboy with him to McFeeney's topless bar. Without staff, Archie panics. Edith, Gloria, and Mike step in. Edith becomes hostess, Gloria waitress, Mike bartends. Customers arrive, anniversary couples, church organists, flirty loners, turning the saloon into a comedic circus. Gloria lies to repel a harassing drunk. Archie improvises drink recipes using randomness disguised in dark glasses. Humor masks disorganization. Then, Mr. Sanders, Archie's factory boss, appears. He confronts Archie about calling in sick. Archie defiantly quits his job as a declaration of entrepreneurship. Sanders predicts neighborhood bars will soon vanish due to rising costs and changing tastes. Archie mocks the warning, but anxiety flickers behind his boast. Business initially seems lively, but the mood darkens in later episodes. Stimulant pills enter the picture through a cheerful salesman-like friend claiming truck drivers, athletes, and businessmen rely on them. Archie resists, then pockets them. His rhetoric of self-control foreshadows dependence. Gradually, customers dwindle. The bar empties. The bill collector arrives cold and emotionless, demanding nearly $3,000 and threatening to remove refrigeration units. Archie panics, pleads jokes, and invents melodramatic stories. The collector leaves unmoved. Competitors thrive. Harry taunts Archie from across the street, boasting about topless waitresses and big crowds. Archie claims topless bars are immoral, insisting after seeing 2 breasts, one has seen all. But envy simmers. He throws eggs at Barney when teased mildly. His tantrums signal ego collapse. At 3 a.m., stimulant-fueled mania erupts. Archie paints the porch, loudly singing and waking neighbors. Edith urges him inside. He tries forcing her to dance. His behavior becomes dangerous comedy, the tragedy buried beneath laughter. Neighbors complain. He persists, convinced productivity heals wounds. Finally, exhaustion pulls him inside. Morning brings deeper concern. Archie refuses food again, just cigars and bravado. Edith and the kids debate what to do. He repeats slogans about efficiency experts, claiming he read newspapers about systems. He believes a system can fix everything because acknowledging personal flaws terrifies him. Modern capitalism pressures him into trends he doesn't understand. At the bar, again alone, Archie sits among empty stools, visual metaphors of abandonment. The jukebox plays occasional songs, then silence. He imagines expansion 1 bar into 2, then whispers, "Why not?" because he cannot sustain one. Yet dreaming feels better than reflecting. He argues more, denies exhaustion, insists he can quit pills, refuses responsibility. His masculinity myth tells him that asking for help equals weakness. When a friend tells him he'll end up being the first bartender on the moon, Archie laughs bitterly, then trembles. He tries to race a rub, a boom to prove energy, then collapses, halfway chanting half-remembered tunes to distract from panic. Even his painting obsession symbolizes avoiding deeper work. He repaints a porch while ignoring financial ruin. Surfaces become distractions. Beneath fresh layers, rot grows. Through all these arcs, Edith remains the anchor. She never mocks. She listens. She sympathizes even when confused. She advocates for Veronica's love, for elderly romance, for Archie's dignity. She absorbs emotional ricochets that would crush others. Her kindness is the quiet rebellion against Archie's culture of toughness. Thematically, the story critiques traditionalism not out of hatred, but compassion. When placed against unfamiliar realities, same-sex love-aging romance entrepreneurship under capitalism's psychostimulant dependency, Archie's worldview buckles. But laughter invites empathy. It allows audiences to confront prejudice without hatred. Archie evolves slowly, often backward, first needing societal pressure to bend. Comedy becomes cultural negotiation. Time accelerates beyond him. His nostalgia for Herbert Hoover era certainty clashes against a future filled with complexity. He blames liberals, modernity, feminism, sexuality, competition, any external force, but never structural shifts. As bars become corporate entertainment venues with flashy gimmicks, neighborhood taverns die. Archie believes personality can beat economics, but kindness isn't a business plan. Sentiment cannot stop eviction notices. Still, the narrative never fully abandons him. The human core beneath his flaws reminds us that misguided beliefs can soften when approached through relationships. Veronica's confession plants empathy seeds. The elderly wedding reveals love's endurance. The failing bar teaches humility. Each scenario breaks a piece of his armor. Near the end, Archie sits alone, humming side by side, thinking about traveling together through unknown futures. The song's meaning shifts. It no longer declares confidence but longing. He grips his glass like a lifeline. He whispers again, 1 bar could be 2, but this time his voice cracks. Hope persists because he still imagines tomorrow. Yet the world doesn't pause for those who refuse to adapt. At closing time, Edith arrives and gently escorts Archie home. Her voice is soft. She tells him she's proud he tried. Pride is the currency of struggle. It doesn't fix debt, but it repairs dignity. Archie says nothing. He locks the door behind them. Lights go out, the bar sleeps. And with its silence, Archie finally does too. The following day unfolds with Archie sinking deeper into denial. He enters the bar whistling a tune too loudly, his forced cheerfulness contrasting with the emptiness of the establishment. The stools are empty, the floor shines from obsessive cleaning, and the smell of failure hangs like stale beer. He pretends to be busy wiping glasses, unnecessarily rearranging napkins, and adjusting bar stools. If movement equals meaning, then perhaps failure cannot catch him. But silence answers every gesture. His reflection in the bar mirror looks older than the night before. Soon the presence of the bill collector returns to haunt him. The man enters with clinical precision, informing Archie again that if payments are not made by Wednesday, refrigeration units will be removed. Archie panics internally, but outwardly plays it cool, pretending he has a secret plan. He jokes in desperation, inventing ridiculous stories about unpaid widows nibbling his fingers. The collector listens politely but remains unmoved. Archie realizes charisma cannot solve bureaucracy, but ego will not let him admit defeat. As the collector leaves quiet, dread settles. Refrigeration is the backbone of the bar. Without it, the saloon cannot function. His dream is beginning to rot the way warm beer does. Like clockwork, the competitive pulse of McFeeney's topless bar echoes from down the block. The sounds of laughter and rowdy crowds drift into the street and around the corner. Harry arrives again, bragging about large crowds, dancing waitresses, and tips bigger than Archie's nightly revenue. Archie scoffs, insisting toplessness is immoral. He repeats the argument several times as though repetition transforms denial into truth. He waves his hand dismissively, saying, "When you've seen two, you've seen them all clinging to moral superiority." But jealousy flickers behind his eyes. He is watching an economic ecosystem evolve, and he is unwilling to adapt. Barney stops by occasionally to use the restroom, sparking comical resentment. Archie hurls eggs at him again, a grotesque ritual signaling emotional meltdown. Eggshells crack yolk dripping across the wooden floor, symbolic of the fragility and messiness of pride. Barney admonishes him gently, but Archie pushes away kindness. The pills push impulsivity, and irritation becomes combustion. Archie becomes obsessed with appearing in control. He begins citing business theories from magazines and newspapers. He tells Gloria and Mike that an efficiency expert will fix everything. He fantasizes about a system that will eliminate error and transform chaos into precision. But systems require humility, adaptation, and data qualities Archie avoids. Instead, he sees the expert as a magical figure who will validate his stubbornness. Evenings become increasingly manic. At home, Edith coaxes him into bed, but he bolts upright moments later, rushing outside with paintbrush and bucket. He marches to the porch and slaps paint, wildly covering wood unevenly in streaks of chartreuse. His neighbors, awakened by the commotion, peek angrily through blinds. He shouts greetings, misinterpreting irritation as applause. He claims he promised to paint the porch when they bought the house, and now decades later, mania fulfills that promise. Hours dissolve into restless activity. By sunrise, paint drips onto every surface but the right ones. During breakfast, Edith tries again to feed him hotcakes and sausage. Archie refuses emotionally before refusing nutritionally. He argues the world eats too much puffing cigars instead of chewing food. Mike notices stimulant behavior, whispering to Gloria about his fear. Edith attempts to temper the situation with gentle persuasion, but Archie is unreachable, trapped inside chemical momentum and capitalist dread. The next time Archie returns to the bar, his vision blurs slightly. Bright lights bother him. The sound of the jukebox, once uplifting, now clangs harshly against his ears. He slumps behind the bar, gripping the wood tightly. He looks at the empty glasses he refused to serve and wonders why customers stayed away. But the answer is everywhere: attitude, inconsistency, poor management, envy, stress, lack of warmth, and his replacement of hospitality with authority. Neighborhood bars survive through belonging, not barking orders. When Barney arrives again, Archie tries to assert dominance by controlling the restroom, claiming customers should not exploit the facility if they do not buy anything. But his argument is transparently insecure. Barney counters gently pointing out that Archie once was one of the guys kind, relatable, grounded. Now he is tyrannical, snapping at the slightest provocation. The transformation is both comedic and heartbreaking. Eventually, the stimulant buzz wears thin. Archie crashes emotionally. He sits alone on a barstool head, resting on folded arms. Edith enters quietly, placing a hand on his shoulder. She tells him softly that she is proud of him for trying. She doesn't say she is proud of success. She praises effort. Archie nearly cries but swallows the emotion. He is not ready to feel vulnerability aloud. On another evening, with more energy returning, Archie tries to shift perspective. He stands proudly behind the bar, explaining to anyone who will listen, usually, no one that assists him will solve everything. He begins to outline ideas stolen from magazines, using words like efficiency awkwardly out of context, misconnecting concepts. His ambition is real, but his interpretation is misguided. Capitalism tricked him into believing that jargon replaces experience. Eventually, with no customers around, he practices speeches out loud, rehearsing witty responses to imaginary crowds. He imagines hosting groups of 6, arriving for drinks, rattling off orders with charm. He tells himself the lighting is perfect, the music is ideal, the stool repair is complete. But none of this matters if laughter doesn't return. The bar becomes a stage empty of actors. He grips the bar edge as though it is a railing on a cliff. His breathing slows. He hears ghosts of past conversations of friends who toasted success here. But those voices now echo from another decade. In his mind, this bar should represent personal triumph, a monument to self-sufficiency after years of being a worker on a loading dock. But entrepreneurship without grounding becomes just another pressure cooker. The bill collector arrives again. He reminds Archie in emotionless tones that Wednesday approaches. Archie tries a new tactic: guilt. He claims 5 daughters depend on him. He exaggerates pregnancies and disabilities. The collector remains unmoved. Bureaucracy is deaf to theatrics. When the collector leaves, Archie stands frozen. He realizes humiliation awaits. His expansion dream, 2 bars, shrinks into dust. He wonders why hard work is not enough anymore. But the answer lies not in morality, but economics, competition trends, rising rent, shifting culture. The neighborhood bar is dying nationwide. Archie cannot grow where the soil is barren. At home that night, another manic painting episode erupts. He splatters paint on Rail's windows, even the neighbor's garden gnome. Edith pleads again. He insists motivation is noble. He tells neighbors to cheer him on. They shut windows. He sings loudly about doors, chains, and rhythmic nonsense, echoing into the quiet streets. The scene is slapstick on the surface, but psychologically, it is a public cry for control. Morning arrives and Archie is exhausted. He grips a coffee cup tightly, trembling slightly. Gloria sees the tremor and tries to intervene gently, but Archie interrupts, claiming he's excited. Shakiness is enthusiasm. He denies the pill's influence entirely. He returns to the bar again. This time, Harry arrives once more. He mocks Archie gently. He mentions Tip's crowd's excitement. Archie throws insults like darts, but they miss. Harry says business is about energy and joy. Archie's bar radiates neither. Harry leaves satisfied. Archie stays stuck. In the afternoon, the bar receives a brief wave of customers. Archie lights up as though the universe answered his prayers. He rushes behind the bar, serving drinks rapidly. He thanks everyone profusely. He offers discounts on sandwiches. He toasts to friendship. Laughter swells. He believes the dream is alive again. For a moment, it is. But crowds leave as quickly as they came. They stop by on their way to topless entertainment. Archie watches the next wave skip his doorway and head downward. His resurgence dies mid-sentence. He swallows pride, then swallows more pills. He looks at the mirror again. This time he sees not age, but panic. A man afraid of becoming invisible. He mutters another mantra. 1 bar could be 2, but the mirror replies silently, first save 1.